Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, both for appearing in front of us. General Wolters, I want to ask a couple more questions about Ukraine. An alumni of your organization, General Ben Hodges, recently said in a television interview on Ukrainian television network that he believes Russia's buildup in the Donbas area is not specifically about Donbas, but more about control of the Black Sea coast, and in particular, trying to take control of Mariupol and maybe the Sea of Azov to stage Russia for further incursions onto the northern Black Sea coast. Have you seen that interview? And if so, what do you think about General Hodges' comments?
Senator, I haven't seen the interview, but I too am concerned about the protection of sovereign activity in the vicinity of the Black Sea.
This was a concern back in 2015, was it not, after Ukraine first made its incursion into the Donbas, that they were going to try to establish a so-called land bridge to Crimea?
It was, Senator.
And that would be deeply harmful not only to Ukraine, but also to American interests in the Black Sea region and to Europe more broadly.
Concur, Senator.
Thank you. And I know that you asked a question earlier about the Javelin missiles that we have provided Ukraine, but to be very exact, those are in possession of the Ukrainian armed forces, and they are entitled to use those anywhere in their country in any manner that they need to defend their territory.
That is correct, Senator, for defensive purposes to defend their sovereign territory.
Javelin is, by definition, really a defensive weapon, wouldn't you say?
I would, Senator.
I'll relay one story from the summer of 2015. I was with the former chairman of the committee, Senator McCain, in eastern Ukraine, about as close as they would let us get to the Donbas. And we met with some troops from their then irregular militia forces that had rallied to come to Ukraine's defense. One had been a former tank commander as a lieutenant in the Red Army, and now he was a battalion commander of this new unit. And he was pleading with us at the time to convince the Obama-Biden administration to provide javelins, which they never did. And he said to us, Mr. Senators, we do not need 100 javelins to use against Russian tanks. We only need 1 javelin to use against a Russian tank, and then Russian tankers will think twice. Would you agree with that bit of folk wisdom from the battlefield, General Wolters, that 1 javelin used in eastern Ukraine against a Russian tank would make a lot of Russian tankers think twice?
I would, Senator, and I think you've accurately characterized the spirit of the Ukrainian armed forces.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to another matter about making Russians think twice. In the wake of Russia's development of new intermediate range nuclear forces capabilities, and also our long overdue departure from the intermediate range nuclear forces treaty, how should NATO posture our forces to adapt to Russia's missile threat? And what in particular should we do to focus on missile defense and long-range strike capability in the European theater?
Senator, as we've talked before, we have to continue to improve in indications and warnings and command and control so that we can see deeper into the environment and respond quicker. And if we'll continue to improve those areas with respect to the integrated air and missile defense programs that we have in work today, we'll keep the campaign momentum traversing in a productive direction.
Are our NATO partners comfortable with the development of those kind of long-range strike capabilities that can hold at risk Russian targets that previously would have been within the INF prohibited range of missiles?
Senator, I would characterize the environment as the nations are becoming more comfortable as they gain greater understanding of the operational environment.
And it seems to me like that's a pretty strong asymmetric advantage in our favor, isn't it? Unless we think that Russia is going to start putting intermediate range missiles in Cuba or the Bahamas or Canada or Mexico, since we can put them up against Russia's border, and they have a much harder time doing it on our border.
I concur, Senator.
Seems to me like we should build a lot more of them then and get them deployed too. Thank you, General. Thank you, General Lyons, as well, for your service.